Hello everybody, this is me editing the video a few days after I recorded this. This is the same footage, at least chunk footage, as like yesterday's video. So there's gonna be some weird like references and stuff, but other than that, you know, can continue and have a good time. Bye. Next up we have Nadir, Agent of Duskenel. It has Griswold's ability that when a token dies, it gets a +1 counter, and it makes a bunch of tokens when it dies equal to its power. This definitely goes well with Griswold, but it is not that great. Next up we have Rakshasa Debaser. It gets stuff out of opponents' yards and has Encore. It's okay, but it's expensive, and without an immediate effect, they could probably kill it on sight, and they probably will do that. Next up we have Green's giant 9-mana sorcery splashy thing with Reshape the Earth. It gets 10 lands into play, which is not quite as good as Boundless Realms, and it's more expensive. Necrotic Hex makes everyone sacrifice 6, then you make 6. So everyone sacrifices 6 creatures, then you make 6 2/2 zombies. Not many people always have 6 creatures, so 7 mana is a lot for not really that much impact. At least not 7 mana's worth. Then you have Nightshade Harvester, which has opponent landfall, so basically like when their lands hit the battlefield, it does 1 damage to that player, and it gets a +1 counter. It might get pretty big, but they can just chump block it most of the time, or just take it, and because we have a lot of health in Commander, it's probably not enough impact, and won't do enough work, but maybe in Yarok it could do something. Lathiel, the Bounteous Dawn, it basically says distribute counters for all the life you've gained on the end step. This could definitely be the life gain tribal deck that I kind of want to build, and it would be really good with Angel of Destiny, which I think is a card that I really want to make work. So next up we have Commander's Plate. No, they do not eat off of this, they wear it into battle. Nah, but it is armor apparently, so it is kind of Commander Voltron, because there's no point in attaching it to a non-commander. And it has protection from all the colors that your commander is not in, so if you're playing mono white, it has protection from everything good. It is good in monocolored and maybe even two-colored, and it gets your commander through pretty well. So I think this card is definitely playable in for example, the SRAM decks or the thing I'm gonna mention later. Stick around, but other than that, I don't think this is gonna be just an auto include in anything. Next up, we have Arami of the Death Tide, which exiles cards to give stuff on core. Giving stuff on core is a very powerful ability, especially if they have powerful ETBs. Like, imagine encoring out an Avenger of Zendikar. That would be pretty awesome. And so I think this would be a fun deck, but I do not think it would be super powerful. And yes, I know Avenger would not fit in this deck. Flamekin Herald gives Commander's Cascade, which is weird, but not great, because you don't play your commander all that much. And maybe with partners, but all the good partners don't cost much, so you wouldn't actually hit anything really that great. Next we have Nevinral, Urborg Tyrant, which makes zombies, and when it dies, you do the Nevinral's disc thing. Yay! So maybe it's board wipe tribal, but that wouldn't be that fun for opponents, most likely, but I mean, there might be some weirdo ideologies that's just like, yes, board wipe me every game! Over and over again! Yay! Anyway, next we have Hull Breacher, which is Notion Thief, but for treasure. This card, I think, is very powerful and will be played a ton. It is not Notion Thief, but I think Notion Thief is so good that this is still very playable in even up all the way up to CEDH. Next we have Sakashima of 1,000 Faces. Sakashima is back, and it clones something. It has partner and it mirror galleries. So this is really powerful, not much else to say. Basically, it just becomes something and just does a ton of work as that thing. Next we have Sakashima's Protege, which has Flash, Cascade at 6 mana, and in ETBs as any new permanent that has come into the battlefield this turn. It has Flash, so it cannot copy an opponent's bomb, but you don't want to hope to hit something off Cascade to turn this into, because that would not be good. Sakashima's Will, after that, is part of the will cycle, so basically if you control a commander, you get to choose both, but otherwise you choose one. You can have your opponent choose which creature they have that they want you to gain control of, and you can have all your creatures become one of your creatures. So if you have an Eldrazi, they alternate the Eldrazi, but unless you have Sakashima off the 1,000 Faces out, if it's legendary, it will die. This would only be really that great if you could target an opponent with one big good value thing, And yeah, this is good value, but it's just pretty generic. It's just kind of it's like, hey, what are 2 things blue can do? Okay, great, slap them together and we have a card. Next we have Coercive Recruiter. Is Coercive a word, or is that like a organization? Okay, so apparently that is actually a word, and it means to relating to or using force or threats. So basically this is a guy that like really is like forcing people into doing what he wants. Basically, it's all your pirates ETB with active treason. Very good in pirate decks, and I think this is definitely a little better than Zealous Conscripts if you have some pirates. It's bad in everything else though, but it does go infinite with Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker, so add that to the growing list of stuff that does. Next we have Dawnglade Regent, which is a thing that gives you the Monarch, and if you have Monarch, it gives all your stuff hexproof. This is really expensive on the mana curve for a protection piece, and there are cards that give everything hexproof for a lot less mana, like that thing from Dominaria. The reason it's really expensive is because of how big of a body it has, but that body is not going to win you games, so this card's just not really that playable. Next we have Akroma's Will, which has 3 abilities on each choice. The first ability has Flying, Vigilance, and Double Strike, while the second ability has Lifelink, Indestructible, and Protection from all colors. If you can get both of these, this is going to be insane. And I think this will definitely be played a good bit. Get it? Will be played. Will? I know, it's terrible. Next we have actual Akroma, though I probably should have put this before Akroma's Will. Akroma, Vision of Exeter, I don't know. Keyword soup, like old Akroma, but not quite as much as the old Akroma. And it lords all the keyword creatures for +1/+1 when it attacks. If a creature has multiple abilities, though, you should note, it does get more than +1/+1. So if it has Double Strike and Flying, it'll get +2/+2. And if it has Partner, Double Strike, and Flying, it'll get +3/+3. One of the keywords is Partner, which is weird, but, I mean, this is a partner set, kinda, so I can kind of understand that. It is amazing with Akroma's Will, because then it gives you all your stuff 6 things, and I think that gives them +5/+5, maybe, because I don't think Protection's on that list. But it's her will, though, so it's not surprising that her will goes well with her. I think this card is going to be very good in decks, such as Cathril Aspect Warper, which I bet you forgot about, because it was not that interesting and very forgettable, honestly. Next, we have Elvish Dreadlord, which is a semi-board wipe for non-elves on death, and it has Encore. It's good in Elf Tribal, but there aren't that many Elf Tribal decks in black, the only one being Abomination of Llanowar, which I skipped over earlier because I thought it was a pretty boring card. It has to die, though, so Exilers such as Anafenza and Rest in Peace completely stop it from working, which would really suck for your strategy. Next, we have Hellkite Courser, which basically on ETB sneak attacks in your commander. This is more of a last-ditch effort, honestly, is what it feels like, but maybe you just play this to stall for your commander to come out, though, if it's a 5-mana commander and it got killed once. If you do this, though, you do not cast your commander, so your commander is the exact same cost as if you did not do this. This does not add 2 mana to it, which would really suck if it did, and it would be completely unplayable. So this is only kinda unplayable. Yay! Next we have Iktekik Salvage Splicer. I think the best part about this card is the name Iktekik. It makes a golems, and when artifacts die, it pumps other golems, and himself. So apparently now green is getting into artifacts, so now it can really do anything! Yay! It's a little on the expensive side, and Golem's Tribal just doesn't have much support, so he's not that great. Next we have Jury, Master of the Review. I don't know if I said that right. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, it gets a +1/+1 counter, and when it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. This card is good in sacrifice decks such as Corvold, Judith, and more, but it's just not that great anywhere else or as a commander on his own. Next up, we have Tuya Bearclaw. Yaha! That was stupid. Anyway, when it attacks, it gets +X/+X for the greatest power among creatures you control. This is just a boring, rural, big stuff commander, and Xenagoth is better, but this could be a budget alternative if you need it. Next, we have Soul of Eternity, which is basically Serra Avatar with Encore, as its power and toughness are both equal to your life total. It is better than Serra Avatar, though, because it has Encore, and it's got a less restricted mana cost, and it doesn't shuffle itself. So, this is definitely going to be replacing Serra Avatar, but I feel like if you're running Serra Avatar, you're just going to run this alongside Serra Avatar and not switch them out. I don't think that big beaters at 7 mana are that great, though, because at 7 mana, you really want to be winning the game, not, hey, here, have this, here, if you blow it up, I just lost my entire turn. That would suck. After that, we have Triumphant Reckoning. It returns all artifacts, enchantments, planeswalkers to the battlefield from your graveyard. This is the 9 mana white card of that cycle, and I definitely think it is the worst, which isn't surprising because it's white. You have to be really big into those card types to be worth it, and if you are, this card might be pretty good, but it's at 9 mana, and it doesn't win the game. Next up, we have Body of Knowledge, which is a big boy creature that says you have no maximum hand size, and it also has power and toughness equal to the number of cards in your hand. When it takes damage, though, you draw some cards, so this could get big if it takes damage, but if you have a small hand, they can just take the damage and, you know, whatever. Usually blue doesn't care for attacking, though, so just taking the damage won't hurt them that bad because then you can't really finish them off. This really just doesn't go with what blue does except for the drawing cards, but then it just doesn't do that very well. So this card just is kind of a cool card to be in like casual, but like, it's just not that good. After that, we have Court of Ire. Originally I thought this was Court of Fire, but then I say, hey, there's no F at that table. No, it's just ire. I don't even know what ire means. Okay, ire means anger, which actually really fits with red. That totally makes sense. Anyway, it is a court, and it deals 2 damage on the upkeep to any target, or 7 if you have the Monarch. This is kind of overcosted at 5 mana, and 2 damage can always take out a good target. So you might just get stuck with shooting an opponent for 2, which would really suck, because you paid 5 mana for this thing. After that, we have Belborca Spectral Sergeant. It is weird. When I first saw this, I was like, what the heck? Anyway, it's like an impulsive draw Voltron commander thing. And that's like the best description I can think of, and I definitely think this deck will like MDFCs, but then again, what deck doesn't? After that, we have Captain Vargas Wrath, which basically says, when it attacks, pirates get +1/+1 for each time you've cast a commander. So, this might be good in a pirate tribal deck, but I don't think this card is very good, because it might get +1/+1 if you've cast your commander, and if you've gotten +2/+2, you're already behind. And if you're playing this guy as your commander, then you were behind before the game even started. After him, we have Hamza, Guardian of Arashin, and it's basically like for all the creatures you have that have +1/+1 counters, it reduces costs. But there are much better +1/+1 counter commanders out there, and this one just isn't that great, so he's not very playable. After that, we have Jared Carthalion, True Heir. Basically, when he enters the battlefield, an opponent gets to become the Monarch, and you can't take the Monarch this turn. But, you are the Monarch, which might happen next turn. When he takes damage, he doesn't take the damage, it only gets bigger. Giving the opponent the Monarch isn't great in the first place, and while this definitely will be a political deck, it might be a little Voltron-y, but I just don't think this is that great. After that, we have Quain, Itinerant Meddler. I don't know what that word means, but I'm not going to look it up because that takes too long. Basically, you can tap it and says, everyone can draw, and everyone gains life. This card is weird, and I don't know how this would be good, except for maybe in a group hug deck, but it just isn't that great, and I don't see how it's playable. I definitely played in Feldergriff for group hugs. It fits those colors, and it really fits the theme as well. After that, we have Timely Ward, which is an aura that gives indestructible for 3 mana. That's a lot of mana already. And if it's targeting your commander, it has Flash. Voltron Commander Combat Trick, yay! But the decks that want to play, could Voltron really want to play all their stuff on the first main phase so they can just get in as much damage as possible? And it's like, if you have to choose between some damage-dealing equipment and this, it's like, well, do I want my commander? I want to protect my commander, but then I won't get through as much damage. So it's just not that, it's like a hard decision. I think this is definitely still playable in Voltron decks, though. So, I think that this is a good include for those decks. Next up, we have Wireless Soulsteel, which is the one I've been talking about. It might actually replace SRAM now. It is in Boros, so you get an extra color, which is good. It has Trample, which is better than SRAM. And when it attacks, not when the HEB, when it attacks, you draw for all the attachments, the artifact equipments, and the enchantment auras. I think this is actually a pretty good card draw for Boros, but this card draw is still attached to attacking, so you have to attack to get the draw. But I do think that this card could get you a ton of cards early in the game, and then he can just keep getting bigger, and eventually, they just can't stop him. This commander is all about attacking, though, so I think even if it is attached to attacking, it's still pretty good, because attacking is completely what you want to do. I think this will definitely replace SRAM for all the trying to be competitive Voltron decks in bad colors. The last card on this list is AEC, Tyrant of Gyre Strait. Gyre Strait? I'm not sure. It gives you an extra land, and whenever you play land, you draw a card. This is just a boring Simic landfall commander. Basically if you have a Tatyova deck, you can just say, you know what, Tatyova, you're out, you toss this guy in. It doesn't really matter, you can choose either one. They're basically the same thing. Anyway, everybody, thank you for watching. This is the end of the video. And maybe this is closer to 40 minutes, maybe even 30. I'm not sure. I haven't edited it yet. All I can see is that I've been recording for 50 minutes. So that's a good while, but maybe I can edit it down a good ways. Anyway, thank you for watching, and as always, like, share, subscribe, notifications bell, junk like that helps us so much. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you have any opinions on any of these cards, if there's something that I missed, please comment below. If you just want to say hi, comment below. Anyway, thanks for watching, and you'll see me next time. I'm out of here. Because my mom wants me to get off the computer, you know, because I've been staring at screens for the last while because of Zoom. Anyway, bye.